Mark you, Guildenstern, and you too, at each era here, the great baby that you see there is not yet out of his swaddling clouds. Happily, he is the second time come to them, for they say an old man is twice a child. I will prophesy he comes to tell me of the play. Mark it. You say right, sir. A Monday morning, 'twas then indeed. My lord, I have news to tell you. My lord, I have news to tell you. When Roscius was an actor in Rome, the actors are come hither, my lord. Buzz, buzz. Upon my honor. Then came each actor on his ass. The best actors in the world, either for tragedy, comedy, history, pastoral, comical, historical, pastoral, scene individable, or poem unlimited. Seneca cannot be too heavy, nor Plautus too light for the law of writ and liberty. These are the only men. O Jephthah, judge of Israel, what a treasure hadst thou? What a treasure had he, my lord? Why, one fair daughter and no more, the which he loved passing well. Still on my daughter? Am I not of the right, old Jephthah? If you call me Jephthah, my lord, I have a daughter that I love passing well. Nay, that follows not. What follows then, my lord? Why, as by lot God wot. And then, you know, it came to pass as most like it was. The first row of the pious chanson will show you more, for look where my abridgment comes. You are welcome, masters, welcome all. I am glad to see thee well. Welcome, good friends. Oh, old friend, why thy face is valanced since I saw thee last. Comest thou to beard me in Denmark? What, my young lady and mistress, by your lady, your ladyship is nearer to heaven than when I saw you last by the altitude of a chopine. Pray God your voice, like a piece of uncurrent gold, be not cracked within the ring. Masters, you are all welcome. Well into it like French falconers, fly at anything we see. We'll have a speech straight. Come, give us a taste of your quality. Come, a passionate speech. What speech, my good lord? I heard thee speak me a speech once, but it was never acted, or if it was, not above once, for the play I remember pleased not the million. 'Twas caviar to the general, but it was, as I received it, and others whose judgments in such matters cried in top of mine, an excellent play, well digested in the scenes, set down with as much modesty as cunning. I remember one, there were no salads in the lines, and to make the matter savory, nor no matter in the phrase that might indict the author of affection, but could in an honest method as wholesome as sweet, and by very much more handsome than fine. One speech in it I chiefly loved. 'Twas Ena's tale to Dido, and thereabouts of it, especially when he speaks of Priam's slaughter. If it live in your memory, begin in this line. Let me see. The rugged Pyrrhus, like the Hyrcanian beast. 'Tis not so. It began with Pyrrhus. The rugged Pyrrhus, he whose sable arms, black as his purpose, did the night resemble, when he lay crouched in the ominous horse, hath now this dreaded and black complexion smeared with heraldry more dismal, head to foot. Now he is total ghouls, horridly tricked with blood of fathers, mothers, daughters, sons, baked and impasted with the parching streets, that lend a tyrannous and damned light to thy lord's murder. Roasted in wrath and fire, and thus o'ersized with coagulate gore, with eyes like carbuncles, the hellish Pyrrhus, old grand sight Priam seeks. So proceed you. For God, my lord, well spoken, with good accent and good discretion. Anon he finds him striking too short at the Greeks. His antique sword, rebellious to his arm, lies where it falls, repugnant to command. Unequal matched Pyrrhus at Priam drives. In rage strikes wide, but with the whiff and wind of his fell sword the unnerved father falls. Then senseless Ilium, seeming to feel this blow, with flaming top stoops at his base, with a hideous crash takes prisoner Pyrrhus' ear. For lo, his sword, which was declining on the milky head of reverend Priam, seemed i' the air to stick. So as a painted tyrant Pyrrhus stood, and like a neutral to his will in matter did nothing. But as we often see against some storm, a silence in the heavens, the rack stands still. The bold winds speechless, and the orb follow as hush as death. Anon the dreadful thunder doth rend the region. So after Pyrrhus' pause, aroused vengeance sets him new a work, and never did the Cyclops' hammer fall on Mars's armor, forged for proof etern. With less remorse than Pyrrhus' bleeding sword now falls on Priam. Out, out, thou strumpet fortune, all you gods! In general synod, take away her power, break all the spokes and fellies from her wheel, and bowl the round nave down the hill of heaven as low as to the fiends. This is too long. It shall be to the barbers with your beard. Prithee, say on. He's a jig for a tale of Baudry, where he sleeps. Say on. Come to Hecuba. But who? Ah, whoa. Had seen the Moblid Queen. The Moblid Queen. That's good. Run barefoot up and down, threatening the flames with bison rheum. A cloud upon that head where late the diadem stood, and for a robe about her lengthened all o'er-teemed loins, a blanket in the alarm of fear caught up. Who this had seen with tongue in venom steeped, 'gainst fortune's state would treason have pronounced. But if the gods themselves did see her then, when she saw Pyrrhus make malicious sport in mincing with his sword her husband's limbs, the instant burst of clamor that she made, unless things mortal move them not at all, would have made milch the burning eyes of heaven and passion in the gods. Look, where he has turned his color, and his ears and his tears in his eyes. Prithee no more. 'Tis well. I'll have thee speak out the rest of this soon. Good my lord, will you see the players well stowed? Do you hear? Let them be well used, for they are the abstract and brief chronicles of the time. After your death you were better have a bad epitaph than their ill reports while you live. My lord, I will use them according to their desert. God's bodkins man much better. Use every man after his desert, and who shall scape whipping. Use them after your own honor and dignity. The less they deserve, the more merit is in your bounty. Take them in. Come, sirs, follow him, friends. We'll hear a play tomorrow. Dost thou hear me, old friend? Can you play The Murder of Gonzago? Aye, my lord. We'll have tomorrow night. You could for need study a speech of some 12 or 16 lines, which I would set down and insert in't, could you not? Aye, my lord, very well. Follow that lord, and look you mock him not. My good friends, I'll leave you till night. You are welcome in Elsinore. Good, my lord. Aye, so goodbye to you. Now I am alone. Oh, what a rogue and peasant slave am I. Is it not monstrous that this player here, but in a fiction, in a dream of passion, could force his soul to his own conceit? That from her working all his visage wanned, tears in his eyes, distraction in his aspect, a broken voice, and his whole function suiting with forms to his conceit, and all for nothing, for Hecuba. What's Hecuba to him, or he to her, that he should weep for her? What would he do had he the motive and the cue for passion that I have? He would drown the stage with tears, and cleave the general ear with horrid speech. Make mad the guilty and appall the free, confound the ignorant, and amaze indeed the very faculties of eyes and ears. Yet I, a dull and muddy-mettled rascal, peak like John a dreams, unpregnant of my cause, and can say nothing. No, not for a king, upon whose property and most dear life a damned defeat was made. Am I a coward? Who calls me villain, breaks my pate across, plucks off my beard and blows it in my face, tweaks me by the nose, gives me the lie of the throat as deep into the lungs? Who does me this? Ha! Swoons. I should take it, for it cannot be, but I am pigeon-livered and lack gall to make oppression bitter, or ere this I should have fatted all the region kites with slaves' offal. Bloody body villain! Remorseless, treacherous, lecherous, kindless villain. Why, what an ass am I! This is most brave that I, the son of a dear father murdered, prompted to my revenge, by heaven and hell must like a whore unpack my heart with words, and fall a-cursing like a very drab, a stallion, fie upon it, foe upon my brains. I have heard that guilty creatures sitting at a play have by the very cunning of the scene been struck so to the soul that presently they have proclaimed their malefactions. For murder, though it have no tongue, will speak with most miraculous organ. I'll have these players play something like the murder of my father before mine uncle. I'll observe his looks. I'll tempt him to the quick. If a do blench, I know my course. The spirit that I know, that I have seen may be a devil, and the devil hath power to assume a pleasing shape, yea, and perhaps out of my weakness and my melancholy, as he is very potent with such spirits, abuses me to damn me. I'll have grounds more relative than this. The play's the thing wherein I'll catch the conscience of the king. And can you by no drift of conference get from him why he puts on this confusion, grating so harshly all his days of quiet with turbulent and dangerous lunacy? He does confess he feels himself distracted, but from what cause? A will by no means speak. Nor do we find him forward to be sounded, but with a crafty madness keeps aloof when he would bring him to some confession of his true state. Did he receive you well? Most like a gentleman. but with much forcing of his disposition. Negard of question, but of our demands, most free of his reply. Did you essay him to any pastime? Madam, it so fell out that certain players were o'erwrought on our way. Of these we told him, and there did seem in him a kind of joy to hear it. They are here about the court, and as I think they are already order this night to play before him. 'Tis most true, and he beseeched me to entreat your majesties to hear and see the matter. With all my heart, and it doth much content me to hear him so inclined. Good gentlemen, give him a further edge, and drive him his purpose into these delights. We shall, my lord. Sweet Gertrude, leave us too, for we have closely sent for Hamlet hither, that he, as 'twere by accident, may here affront Ophelia. Her father and myself, lawful espials, will bestow ourselves that, unseen, we may of their encounter frankly judge, and gather by him as he is behaved, if it be the affliction of his love or no, that thus he suffers for. I shall obey you, and for your part, Ophelia, I do wish that your good beauties be the happy cause of Hamlet's wildness. So shall I hope your virtues will bring him to his wonted way again, to both your honours. Madam, I wish it may. Ophelia, walk you here. Gracious, so please you, we will bestow ourselves. Read on this book. That show of an exercise may colour your loneliness. We are oft to blame in this. 'Tis too much proved that with devotion's visage and pious action we do sugar o'er the devil himself. Oh, 'tis too true. How smart a lash that speech doth give my conscience. The harlot's cheek, beautied and plastering art, is not more ugly to the thing that helps it than is my deed to my most painted word. Oh, heavy burden! I hear him coming. Let's withdraw, my lord. To be or not to be, that is the question, whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles, and by opposing end them, to die, to sleep no more, and by sleep we say we end the heartache, and the thousand natural shocks that flesh is heir to. 'Tis a consummation devoutly to be wished, to die, to sleep perchance to dream. There's the rub, for in that sleep of death, what dreams may come when we have shuffled off this mortal coil must give us pause. There's the respect that makes calamity of so long life. For who would bear the whips and scorns of time, the oppressor's wrong, the proud man's contumely, the pangs of despised love, the law's delay, the insolence of office, and the spurns that patient merit of the unworthy takes, when he himself might his quietus make with a bare bodkin? Who would fardels bear to grunt and sweat under a weary life, but that the dread of something after death, the undiscovered country for whose bourne no traveller returns, puzzles the will, and makes us rather bear those ills we have, than fly to others that we know not of? Thus conscience does make cowards of us all, and thus the native hue of resolution is sicklied over with the pale cast of thought, and enterprises of great pitch and moment, with disregard of their currents, turn awry, and lose the name of action. Soft you now. The fair Ophelia. Nymph, in thy orisons be all my sins remembered. Good my lord, how does your honour for this many a day? I humbly thank you well. My lord, I have remembrances of yours that I have longed to redeliver. I pray you now receive them. No, not I. I never gave you aught. My honoured lord, you know right well you did. And with them words of so sweet breath composed as made the things more rich. Their perfume lost, take these again, for to the noble mind rich gifts wax poor when givers prove unkind. There, my lord. Are you honest, my lord? Are you fair? What means your lordship? That if you be honest and fair, your honesty should admit no discourse to your beauty. Could beauty, my lord, have better commerce than with honesty? Ay, truly, for the power of beauty will sooner transform honesty from what it is to a bawd, than the force of honesty can translate beauty into his likeness. This was sometime a paradox for me, but now the time gives it proof. I did love you once. Indeed, my lord, you made me believe so. You should not have believed me, for virtue cannot so inoculate our old stock, but we shall relish of it. I loved you not. I was the more deceived. Get thee to a nunnery. Why wouldst thou be a breeder of sinners? I am myself indifferent honest. But yet I could accuse me of such things that it were better my mother had not borne me. I am very proud, revengeful, ambitious, with more offences at my beck than I have thoughts to put them in, imagination to give them shape, or time to act them in. What should such fellows as I do, crawling between earth and heaven? We are errant knaves all. Believe none of us. Go thy ways to a nunnery. Where's your father? At home, my lord. Let the doors be shut upon him, that he may play the fool nowhere but in his own house. Farewell. Oh, help him, you sweet heavens. If thou dost marry, I'll give thee this plague for thy dowry. Be thou as chaste as ice, as pure as snow. Thou shalt not escape calumny. Get thee to a nunnery, farewell. Or if thou wilt needs marry, marry a fool, for wise men know well enough what monsters you make of them. To a nunnery go, and quickly too, farewell. Heavenly powers restore him. I have heard of your paintings well enough. God hath given you one face, and you make yourselves another. You jig and amble, and you lisp. You nickname God's creatures, and make your wantonness your ignorance. Go to. I'll no more on it. It hath made me mad. I say we will have no more marriage. Those that are married already, all but one, shall live. The rest shall keep as they are. To a nunnery. Go! Oh, what a noble mind is here o'erthrown. The courtiers, soldiers, scholars' eye, tongue, sword, the expectancy and rose of the fair state. The glass of fashion and the mold of form, the observed of all observers, quite down an eye of ladies most deject and wretched, that sucked the honey of his music vows, now see that noble and most sovereign reason like sweet bells jangled, out of time and harsh, that unmatched form and feature of blown youth, blasted with ecstasy. Oh, woe is me to have seen what I have seen, see what I see. Love? His affections do not that way tend, nor what he spake, though it lacked form a little, was not like madness. There's something in his soul, o'er which his melancholy sits on brood, and I do doubt the hatch and disclose will be some danger, for to prevent I have in quick determination thus set it down. He shall with speed to England for the demand of our neglected tribute. Haply the seas and countries different, with variable objects, shall expel this something settled matter in his heart, whereon his brains still beating puts him thus from fashion to himself. What think you on it? It shall do well, but yet I do believe the origin and commencement of his grief sprung from neglected love. How now, Ophelia? You need not tell us what Lord Hamlet said. We heard it all. My lord, do as you please, but if you hold it fit, after the play, let his queen mother all alone entreat him to show his grief. Let her be round with him, and I'll be placed, so please you, in the ear of all our conference. If she find him not, to England send him, or confine him where your wisdom shall best think it. It shall be so. Madness in great ones must not unwatched go. Speak the speech, I pray you, as I pronounced it to you trippingly on the tongue. But if you mouth it, as many of our players do, I had as lief the town crier speak my lines. Nor do not saw the air too much with your hand thus, but use all gently, for in the very torrent, tempest, and, as I may say, whirlwind of your passion, you must acquire and beget temperance that may give it smoothness. So it offends me to the soul to hear a robustious, periwig-pated fellow tear a passion to the tatters, to very rags, to split the ears of the groundlings, who for the most part are capable of nothing but inexplicable dumb shows and noise. I would have such a fellow whipped for doing termagant. It out Herods Herod. Pray you avoid it. I warrant your honor. Be not too tame neither, but let your own discretion be your tutor. Suit the action to the word to the action, with this special observance, that you o'erstep not the modesty of nature, for anything so overdone is from the purpose of playing, whose end both at first and now was and is to hold as 'twere the mirror up to nature, to show virtue her feature, scorn her own image, and the very age and body of the time his form and pressure. Now this overdone, or come tardy off, though it makes unskilful laugh, cannot but make the judicious grieve, the censure of the which one must in your allowance overweigh with the whole theatre of others. Oh, there be players that I have seen and heard others praise, and that highly, not to speak of it profanely, that neither having the accent of Christians, nor the gait of Christian, pagan, nor man, have so strutted and bellowed, that I have thought some of nature's journeymen had made men, and not made them well. They imitated humanity so abominably. I hope we have informed that indifferently with us. Oh, reform it altogether, and let those that play your clowns speak no more than is set down for them, for there be of them that will themselves laugh, or set on some quantity of barren spectators to laugh too, though in the meantime some necessary question of the play be then to be considered. That's villainous, and shows a most pitiful ambition in the fool that uses it. Go and make ready. How now, my lord, will the king hear this piece of work? And the queen too, and that presently. And the players make haste. Will you too help to hasten them? Aye, my lord. What ho, Horatio? Here, sweet lord, at your service. Horatio, thou art e'en and just a man, as ere my conversation cope withal. Oh, my dear lord, nay, do not think I flatter. For what advancement may I hope from thee, that no revenue has but thy good spirits to feed and clothe thee? Why should the poor be flattered? No, let the candied tongue lick absurd pomp, and crook the pregnant hinges of the knee, where thrift may follow fawning. Dost thou hear? Since my dear soul was mistress of her choice, and could of men distinguish her election, hath sealed thee for herself, for thou hast been as one in suffering, all that suffers nothing, a man that fortune's buffets and rewards has ta'en with equal thanks, and blessed are those whose blood and judgment are so well commeddled, that they are not a pipe for fortune's finger to sound what stop she please. Give me that man that is not passion's slave, that I will wear him in my heart's core, aye, in my heart of heart, as I do thee. Something too much of this. There is a play tonight before the king. One scene of it comes near the circumstance which I have told thee of my father's death. I prithee, when thou seest that act afoot, even with the very comment of thy soul, observe my uncle. If his occulted guilt do not itself unkennel in one speech, it is a damned ghost that we have seen, and my imagination are as foul as Vulcan's stithy. Give him heedful note, for I mine eyes will rivet to his face, and after we will both our judgments join in censure of his seeming. Well, my lord, if a steal lot the whilst his play is playing, and scape detecting, I will pay the theft. They are coming to the play. I must be idle. Get you a place. How fares our cousin Hamlet? Excellent, to faith. Of the chameleon's dish I eat the air, promise crammed. You cannot feed capons so. I have nothing with this answer, Hamlet. These words are not mine. No, nor mine now. My lord, you played once the university, you say? That did I, my lord, and was accounted a good actor. What did you enact? I did enact Julius Caesar. I was killed at the Capitol. Brutus killed me. It was a brute part of him to kill so capital a calf there. Be the players ready? Aye, my lord, they stay upon your patience. Come hither, my dear Hamlet, sit by me. No, good mother, here's metal more attractive. Oh ho, do you mark that? Lady, shall I lie in your lap? Oh, no, my lord. Do you think I meant country matters? I think nothing, my lord. That's a fair thought, to lie between maids' legs. What is, my lord? Nothing. You are merry, my lord. Who I? I, my lord. Oh God, you're only jig-maker. What should a man do but be merry? For look you how cheerfully my mother looks, and my father dead within 2 hours. Nay, 'tis 2 months, my lord. So long? Nay then, let the devil wear black, for I'll have a suit of sables. Oh heavens, die 2 months ago and not forgotten yet, then there's hope a great man's memory may outlive his life half a year. But by Our Lady, must build churches then, or else shall a suffer for thinking on, with the hobby horse whose epitaph is, for oh, the hobby horse is forgot. What means this, my lord? Mary, this is Mitching Maleko. It means mischief. Belike this show imports the argument of the play. We shall know by this fellow the players cannot keep counsel, they'll tell all. Will it tell us what this show means? Aye, or any show that will show them. Be not you ashamed to show, he'll not shame to tell you what it means. You are not. I'll mark the play. For us and for our tragedy, here stooping to your clemency, we beg your hearing patiently. Is this a prologue, or a posy of the ring? 'Tis brief, my lord, as woman's love. Full 30 times hath Phoebus' cart gone round Neptune's salt, wash, and Tellus-orbed ground, and 30 dozen moons with borrowed sheen about the world have times 12/30s been. Since love our hearts and Hymen did our hands unite commutal in most sacred bands. So many journeys may the sun and the moon make us again count, or ere love be done. But woe is me, you are sick of late, so far from cheer and from your former state that I distrust you. Yet, though I distrust discomfort you, my lord, it nothing must, for women fear too much, even as they love, and women's fear and love hold quantity. In neither aught nor extremity. Now, what my love is, proof hath made you know, and as my love is sized, my fear is so. Where love is great, the littlest doubts are fear. Where little fears grow great, great love grows there. Faith, I must leave thee, love, and shortly too my operant powers their functions leave to do, and thou shalt live in this fair world behind, honored, beloved, and haply one as kind, for husband shall thou. Oh, confound the rest, such love must needs be treason in my breast. In second husband, let me be accursed. None wed the second, but who killed the first? That's wormwood. The instances of that second marriage move are base respects of thrift, but none of love. A second time I kill my husband dead, when second husband kisses me in bed. I do believe you think what now you speak. But what we do determine oft we break. Purpose is but the slave, no memory, a violent birth, but poor validity, which now the fruit unripe sticks on the tree, but fall unshaken when they mellow be. Most necessary 'tis what we forget, to pay ourselves what we ourselves is debt. What to ourselves is passion we propose, the passion ending doth the purpose lose. The violence of either grief or joy, their own enactors with themselves destroy. Where joy most revels, grief doth most lament. Grief joys, joy grieves on slender accident. This world is not for aye, nor 'tis not strange that even our loves should with our fortunes change. For 'tis a question left us yet to prove, whether love lead fortune, or else fortune love. The great man down, you mark his favorite flies. The poor advanced makes friends of enemies. And hitherto doth love on fortune tend, for who not needs shall never lack a friend, and who in want a hollow friend doth try, directly seems him as his enemy. But orderly to end where I begun, our wills and fates do so contrary run, that our devices still are overthrown, our thoughts are ours, their ends none of our own. So think thou wilt no second husband wed, but die thy thoughts when thy first lord is dead. Not earth to give me food, nor heaven light, sport and repose lock from me day and night. To desperation turn my trust and hope, and anchor's cheer is prison be my scope. Each opposite that blanks the face of joy, meet that I would have well, and it destroy, both here and hence pursue my lasting strife. If once a widow, ever I be a wife. If she break it now, 'tis deeply sworn. Sweet, leave me here a while. My spirits grow dull, and fain I would beguile that tedious day with sleep. Sleep rocks thy brains, and never come mischance between us twain. Madam, how like you this play? The lady doth protest too much, methinks. Oh, but she'll keep her word. Have you heard the argument? Is there no offence in it? No, they do but jest, poison and jest, no offence of the world. What do you call the play? The Mousetrap? Mary, how? Typically, this play is in the image of a murder done in Vienna. Gonzago is the duke's name, his wife, Baptista, you shall see anon. 'Tis a knavish piece of work, but what of that? Your majesty and we that have free souls, it touches us not. Let the galled jade wince. Our withers are unwrung. This is one Lucianus, nephew to the king. You are as good as a chorus, my lord. I could interpret between you and your love, if I could see the puppets dallying. You are keen, my lord, you are keen. It would cost you a groaning to take off mine edge. Still better, and worse. So you mistake your husbands. Begin, murderer. Leave thy damnable face and begin. Come the croaking raven doth bellow for revenge. Thoughts black, hands apt, drugs fit, and times agreeing. Confederate season else no creature seeing, thou a mixture rank of midnight weeds collected. With Hecate's ban thrice blasted, thrice infected, thy natural magic and dire property on wholesome life usurps immediately. A poisons him of the garden for the estate. His name's Gonzago. The story is extant and is written in very choice Italian. You shall see anon how the murderer gets the love of Gonzago's wife. The king rises. How fares my lord? Give o'er the play. Give me some light. Away. Lights, lights, lights. Why? Let the stricken deer go weep. The heart ungalled play, for some must watch, while some must sleep. Thus runs the world away. Would not this, sir, and a forest of feathers, if the rest of my fortunes turn Turk with me, with provincial roses on my raised shoes? Get me a fellowship and a cry of players. Hail a share, a whole one, aye. For thou dost know, O Damon dear, this realm dismantled was of Jove himself, and now reigns here a very, very Pagic. You might have rhymed. Oh, good Horatio, I'll take the ghost's word for £1,000. Did perceive? Very well, my lord. Upon the talk of the poisoning, I did very well note him. Aha! Come some music, come the recorders. For if the king like not the comedy, why then belike he likes it not, Purdy. Come some music. Good my lord, vouchsafe me a word with you, sir. All history. The king, sir, aye, sir, what of him? Is in his retirement marvellous distempered. With drink, sir? No, my lord, with choler. Your wisdom should show itself more richer to signify this to the doctor, for me to put him to this purgation would perhaps plunge him into more choler. Good my lord, put your discourse into some frame, and start not so wildly from my affair. I am tame, sir. Pronounce. The queen your mother in most great affliction of spirit hath sent me to you. You are welcome. Nay, good my lord, the courtesy is not of the right breed. If it shall please you to make a wholesome answer, I will do your mother's commandment. If not, your pardon and my return shall be the end of my business. Sir, I cannot. What, my lord? Make you a wholesome answer. My wit's diseased. But, sir, such answer as I can make, you shall command, or rather as you may, say, my mother, therefore no more but to the matter. My mother, you say. Then thus she says, your behavior hath struck her into amazement and admiration. O wonderful son, that can so stonish a mother. But is there no sequel at the heels of this mother's admiration? In part, she desires to speak with you in her closet ere you go to bed. We shall obey, were she 10 times our mother. Have you any further trade with us, my lord? You once did love me, and do still, by these prickers and stealers. Good my lord, what is your cause of distemper? You do surely bar the door upon your own liberty, if you deny your griefs to your friend. Sir, I lack advancement. How can that be, when you have the voice of the king himself for your succession in Denmark? Aye, sir, but while the grass grows, the proverb is something musty. Oh, the recorders, let me see one. To withdraw with you. Why do you go about to recover the wind of me, as would drive me into a toil? Oh, my lord, if my duty be too bold, my love is too unmannerly. I do not well understand that. Will you play upon this pipe? My lord, I cannot. I pray you. Believe me, I cannot. I do beseech you. I know no touch of it, my lord. It is as easy as lying. Govern these vintages with your fingers and thumb. Give it breath with your mouth, and it will discourse most eloquent music. Look you, these are the stops. But these cannot I command to any utterance of harmony. I have not the skill. Why, look you now how unworthy a thing you make of me. You would play upon me. You would seem to know my stops. You would pluck out the heart of my mystery. You would sound me from my lowest note to the top of my compass. And there is such music, excellent voice in this little organ, yet cannot you make it speak. S'blood, do you think I am easier to be played on than a pipe? Call me what instrument you will. Though you can fret me, you cannot play upon me. God bless you, sir. My lord, the queen would speak with you, and presently. Do you see yonder cloud that's almost in shape of a camel? By the mass, and 'tis like a camel indeed. Methinks it is like a weasel. Oh, it is backed like a weasel, or like a whale, very like a whale. Then I will come to my mother by and by. They fool me to the top of my bent. I will come by and by. I will say so. By and by is easily said. Leave me, friends. 'Tis now the very witching time of night, when churchyards yawn, the hell itself breathes out the contagion to the world. Now could I drink hot blood, and do such bitter business as the day would quake to look on. Soft, now to my mother. O heart, lose not thy nature. Let not ever the soul of Nero enter this firm bosom. Let me be cruel, not unnatural. I will speak daggers to her, but use none. My tongue and soul in this be hypocrite. How in the words howsomever she be shent, to give them seals never my soul consent. I like him not, nor stands it safe with us to let his madness range. Therefore prepare you. I am your commission, I your commission with forthwith dispatch, and he to England shall along with you. The terms of our estate may not endure hazard so near as doth hourly grow out of his brows. We will ourselves provide most holy and religious fear. It is to keep those many, many bodies safe that live and feed upon your majesty. The single and peculiar life is bound with all the strength and armor of the mind to keep itself from annoyance, but much more that spirit upon whose wheel depends and rests the lives of many. The cess of majesty dies not alone, but like a gulf doth draw what's near with it. Or it is a massy wheel fixed on the summit of the highest mount, to whose huge spokes 10,000 lesser things are mortised and adjoined, which when it falls, each small annexment, petty consequence, attends the boisterous ruin. Never alone did the king sigh, but with a general groan. Arm you, I pray you, to this speedy voyage, for we will fetters put about this fear, which now goes too free-footed. We will haste us. My lord, he's going to his mother's closet. Behind the arras I'll convey myself, to hear the process. I'll warrant she'll tax him home, and as you said, and wisely said it was, 'tis meet that some more audience than a mother, since nature makes them partial, should o'erhear the speech of vantage. Fare you well, my liege. I'll call upon you ere you go to bed, and I'll tell you what I know. Thanks, my dear lord. Oh, my offense is rank, it smells to heaven. It hath the primal eldest curse upon it, a brother's murder. Pray, can I not? Though inclination be as sharp as will, my stronger guilt defeats my strong intent, and like a man to double business bound, I stand in pause where I shall first begin, and both neglect. What if this cursed hand were thicker than itself with brother's blood, if there not rain enough in the sweet heavens to wash it white as snow? Whereto serves mercy but to confront the visage of offense? But in what's in prayer but this twofold force to be forestalled ere we come to fall? O pardoned being down, then I'll look up. My fault is past, but oh, what form of prayer can serve my turn? Forgive me my foul murder. That cannot be, since I am still possessed of those effects for which I did make the murder, my crown, mine own ambition, and my queen. May one be pardoned and retain the offense? In the corrupted currents of the world, offence's gilded hand may shove by justice, and oft 'tis seen the wicked prize itself buys out the law. But 'tis not so above. There's no shuffling, the action lies in his true nature, and we ourselves compelled even to the teeth and forehead of our faults to give in evidence. What then? What rests? Try what repentance can. What can it not? Yet what can it when one cannot repent? O wretched state! O bosom black as death! O limed soul, that struggling to be free art more engaged! Help, angels! Make essay! Bow, stubborn knees, and heart with strings of steel, be soft as sinews of the newborn babe. All may be well. Now might I do it, Pat. Now it is a praying, and now I'll do it. And so it goes to heaven, and so I am revenged. That would be scanned. A villain kills my father, and for that I, his sole son, do this same villain send to heaven. Why, this is higher in salary, not revenge. I took my father grossly full of bread, with all his crimes broad blown as flush as May, and how his audit stands, who knows save heaven? But in our circumstance and course of thought, 'tis heavy with him. And am I then revenged to take him in the purging of his soul when he is fit and seasoned for his passage? No, up sword, and know thou a more horrid hent when he is drunk asleep, or in his rage, or the incestuous pleasure of his bed, at game a-swearing, or about some act that has no relish of salvation in it. Then trip him, that his heels may kick at heaven, and that his soul may be as damned and black as hell, whereto it goes. My mother stays. This physic but prolongs thy sickly days. My words fly up, my thoughts remain below. Words without thoughts never to heaven go. A will come straight, look you, lay home to him, till him his pranks have been too broad to bear with, and that your grace hath screened and stood between much heat and him. I'll silence me even here. Pray you be round. I'll warrant you, fear me not. Withdraw. I hear him coming. Now, mother, what's the matter? Hamlet, thou hast thy father much offended. Mother, you have my father much offended. Come, come, you answer with an idle tongue. Go, go, you question with a wicked tongue. Why? How now, Hamlet? What's the matter now? Have you forgot me? No. By the rood, not so. You are the queen, your husband's brother's wife, and would it were not so, you are my mother. Nay, then I'll set those to you that can speak. Come, come, and sit you down. You shall not budge. You go not till I set you up a glass where you may see the inmost part of you. What wilt thou do? Thou wilt not murder me. Help! What? Oh, help! How now, a rat, dead for a ducat, dead! Oh, I am slain. Me, what hast thou done? Nay, I know not. Is it the king? Oh, what a rash and bloody deed is this! A bloody deed almost as bad, good mother, as kill a king, and marry with his brother, as kill a king? Aye, lady, it was my word. Thou wretched, rash, intruding fool, farewell. I took thee for thy better. Take thy fortune. Thou find'st to be too busy is some danger. Leave wringing of your hands. Peace. Sit you down, and let me wring your heart, for so I shall, if it be made of penetrable stuff, if damned custom have not brazed it so that it be proof and bulwark against sense. What have I done, that thou darest wag thy tongue in so noise so rude against me? Such an act, that blurs the grace and blush of modesty, calls virtue hypocrite, takes off the rose from the fair forehead of an innocent love, and sets a blister there, makes marriage vows as false as dicers' oaths. Oh, such a deed, as from the body of contraction plucks the very soul, and sweet religion makes a rhapsody of words. Heaven's face does glow o'er this solidity and compound mass, with heated visage as against the doom is thought sick at the act. I mean, what act that roars so loud and thunders in the index? Look here, upon this picture and on this, the counterfeit presentment of two brothers. See what a grace was seated on this brow, Hyperion's curls, the front of Jove himself, an eye like Mars to threaten and command, a station like the herald Mercury, new lighted on a heaven-kissing hill, a combination and a form indeed, where every god did seem to set his seal to give the world assurance of a man. This was your husband. Look you now what follows. Here is your husband, like a mildewed ear, blasting his wholesome brother. Have you eyes? Could you on this fair mountain leave to feed and batten on this moor? Ha! Have you eyes? You cannot call it love. For at your age the heyday in the blood is tame, it's humble, and waits upon the judgment. And what judgment would step from this to this? Sense sure you have, else could you not have motion, but sure that sense is apoplexed, for madness would not err, nor sense to ecstasy was ne'er so thralled, but it's reserved some quantity of choice to serve in such a difference. What devil was't that doth hast cozened you at hoodman blind? Eyes without feeling, feeling without sight, ears without hands or eyes, smelling sans all, or but a sickly part of one true sense, could not so mope. O shame! Where is thy blush? Rebellious hell, if thou canst mutine in a matron's bones to flaming youth, let virtue be as wax, and melt in her own fire. Proclaim no shame when the compulsive ardor gives the charge, since frost itself as actively doth burn, and reason panders will. Oh, Hamlet, speak no more. Thou turnest my eyes into my very soul, and there I see such black and grained spots as will leave there their taint. Nay, but to live in the rank sweat of an enseamed bed, stewed in corruption, honeying and making love over the nasty sty. Oh, speak to me. No more. These words like daggers enter my ears. No more, sweet Hamlet. A murderer and a villain. A slave that is not 20th part the tithe of your precedent lord, a vice of kings, a cut-purse of the empire, and the rule that from a shelf the precious diadem stole and put it in his pocket. No more! A cring of shreds and patches. Save me and hover over me with your wings, you heavenly guards. What would your gracious figure? Alas, he's mad. Do you not come your tardy son to chide, that lapsed in time and passion lets go by the important acting of your dread command? Oh, say, do not forget. This visitation is but to whet thy almost blunted purpose. But look, amazement on thy mother sits. Oh, step between her and the fighting soul. Conceit in weakest bodies, strongest works. Speak to her, Hamlet. How is it with you, lady? Alas, how is it with you, that you do bend your eye on vacancy, and with the incorporeal air do hold discourse? Forth at your eyes your spirits wildly peep, and as the sleeping soldiers in the alarm, your bedded hair, like life and excrements, start up and stand on end. O gentle sun, upon the heat and flame of thy distemper sprinkle cool patience. Whereon do you look? On him! On him, look you how pale he glares. His form and cause conjoined, preaching in stones, would make them capable. Do not look upon me, lest with this piteous action you convert my stern effects. Then what I have to do will want true color, tears perchance for blood. To whom do you speak this? Do you see nothing there? Nothing at all, yet all that I see. Nor did you nothing hear? No, nothing but ourselves. Why, look you there. Look how it steals away, my father in his habit as he lived. Look where he goes even now at the portal. This is the very coinage of your brain, this bodiless creation, ecstasy is very cunning in. My pulse, as yours, doth temperately keep time, and makes as healthful music. It is not madness that I have uttered. Bring me to the test, and I the matter will reword, which madness would gamble from. Mother, for love of grace, lay not that flattering unction to your soul, that not your trespass, but my madness speaks. It will but skin and film the ulcerous place, whiles rank corruption, mining all within, infects unseen. Confess yourself to heaven. Repent what's past, avoid what is come, and do not spread the compost on the weeds to make them rancor. Forgive me this my virtue. For in the fatness of these pursy times, virtue itself of vice must pardon beg, yea, curb and woo for leave to do him good. O Hamlet, thou hast cleft my heart in twain. Oh, throw away the worser part of it, and live the purer with the other half. Good night, but go not to my uncle's bed. Assume a virtue, if you have it, not that monster custom, who all sense doth eat of habits evil, is angel yet in this, that to the use of actions fair and good, he likewise gives a frock or livery that aptly is put on. Refrain tonight, and that shall lend a kind of easiness to the next abstinence, the next more easy. For use almost can change the stamp of nature, and either lodge the devil or throw him out, with wondrous potency. Once more good night, and when you are desirous to be blessed, I'll blessing beg of you. For this same Lord I do repent, but heaven hath pleased it so to punish me with this, and this with me, that I must be their scourge and minister. I will bestow him, and he will answer well the death I gave him. So again, good night. I must be cruel only to be kind. This bad begins, and worse remains behind. One more word, good lady. What shall I do? Not this by no means that I bid you do. Let the bloat king tempt you again to bed, push wanton on your cheek, call you his mouse, and let him, for a pair of reechy kisses or paddling in your neck with his damned fingers, make you to ravel all this matter out, that I essentially am not in madness, but mad in craft. 'Twere good you let him know. For who that's but a queen, fair, sober, wise, would from a paddock, from a bat, a jib, such dear concernings hide? Who would do so? No, in despite of sense and secrecy, unpeg the basket on the house's top, let the birds fly, and like the famous ape to try conclusions in the basket creep, and break your own neck down. Be thou assured, if words be made of breath, and breath of life, I have no life to breathe what thou hast said to me. I must to England, you know that? Alack, I had to forget. 'Tis so concluded on. There's letters sealed, and my 2 schoolfellows, whom I shall trust as I will adders fanged, they bear the mandate that must sweep my way and marshal me to knavery. Let it work. For 'tis the sport to have the engineer hoist with his own petard, and it shall go hard, but I will delve 1 yard below their minds, and blow them at the moon. Oh, 'tis most sweet when in one line 2 crafts directly meet. This man shall set me packing. I'll lug the guts into the neighbor room. Mother, good night. Indeed, this counselor is now most still, most secret, and most grave. who was in life a foolish, prating knave. Come, sir, to draw toward an end with you. Good night, mother. There's matter in these sighs, these profound heaves you must translate. 'Tis fit we understand them. Where is your son? Bestow this place on us a little while. Oh, mine own lord, what have I seen tonight? What, Gertrude? How does Hamlet? Mad as the sea and wind when both contend which is the mightier. In his lawless fit, behind the arras, hearing something stir, whips out his rapier, cries, "A rat! A rat!" and in this brainish of apprehension kills the unseen good old man. Oh, heavy deed! It had been so with us, had we been there. His liberty is full of threats to all, to you yourself, to us, to everyone. Alas, how shall this bloody deed be answered? It will be laid to us whose providence should have kept short, restrained and out of haunt this mad young man. But so much was our love, we would not understand what we most fit, but, like the owner of a foul disease, to keep it from divulging, let it feed even on the pith of life. Where is he gone? To draw apart the body he hath killed, or whom his very madness, like some ore among a mineral of metals base, shows itself pure, weeps for what is done. Oh, Gertrude, come away. The sun no sooner shall the mountains touch, but we shall ship him hence, and this vile deed we must with all our majesty and skill both countenance and excuse. Ho, Guildenstern! Friends both, go join you with some further aid. Hamlet in madness hath Polonius slain, and from his mother's closet hath he dragged him. Go seek him out, speak fair, and bring the body into the chapel, I pray you in haste. Come, Gertrude, we'll call up our wisest friends and let them know both what we mean to do and what's untimely done. Whose whisper o'er the world's diameter, as level as the cannon to his blank, transports his poisoned shot, may miss our name and hit the woundless air. Oh, come away. My soul is full of discord and dismay. Safely stowed, but soft. What noise? Who calls on Hamlet? Oh, here they come. What have you done, my lord, with the dead body? Compounded it with dust, whereto 'tis kin. Tell us where 'tis, that we may take it thence and bear it to the chapel. Do not believe it. Believe what? That I can keep your counsel and not mine own. Besides, to be demanded of a sponge, what replication should be made of the son of the king? Take you me for a sponge, my lord? Ay, sir, that soaks up the king's countenance, his rewards, his authorities, but such officers do the king best service in the end. He keeps them like an ape in the corner of his jaw, first mouthed to be last swallowed. When he needs you, what you have gleaned, it is but squeezing you, and sponge, you shall be dry again. I understand you not, my lord. I am glad of it. A knavish speech sleeps in a foolish ear. My lord, you must tell us where the body is, and go with us to the king. The body is with the king, but the king is not with the body. The king is a thing, my lord, of nothing. Bring me to him. I have sent to seek him and to find the body. How dangerous is it that this man goes loose? Yet must now not we put the strong law on him. He's loved of the distracted multitude, who like not in their judgment but their eyes, and where 'tis so the offender's scourge is weighed, but never the offense. To bear all smooth, and even the smooth sending him away, must seem deliberate pause. Diseases desperate grown by desperate appliances are relieved, or not at all. How now? What hath befallen? Where the dead body is bestowed, my lord, we cannot get from him. But where is he? Without, my lord, guarded to know your pleasure. Bring him before us? Oh, bring in the lord. Now, Hamlet, where's Polonius? At supper? At supper? Where? Not where he eats, but where is it eaten? A certain convocation of politic worms are e'en at him. Your worm is your only emperor for diet. We fat all creatures else to fat us, and we fat ourselves for maggots. Your fattened king and your lean beggar is but variable service, 2 dishes, but 1 table. That's the end. Alas, alas. A man may fish with the worm that hath eat of the king, and eat of the fish that hath fed of that worm. What dost thou mean by this? Nothing but to show you how a king may go a progress through the guts of a beggar. Where is Polonius? In heaven. Send thither to see. If your messenger finds him not there, seek him at the other place yourself. But if indeed you find him not within this month, you shall nose him as you go up the stairs into the lobby. Go seek him there. I will stay till you come. Hamlet, this deed for thine especial safety, which we do tender as we dearly grieve for that which thou hast done, must send thee hence with fiery quickness. Therefore prepare thyself, the bark is ready, and the wind at help the associates tend, and everything is bent for England. For England? Ay, Hamlet, good. So it is, if thou knewest our purposes. I see a cherub that sees them, but come for England. Farewell, dear mother, thy loving father, Hamlet. My mother, father and mother is man and wife is man, one flesh. So my mother, come for England. Follow him at foot, tempt him with speed aboard, delay it not. I'll have him hence tonight, away, for everything is sealed and done that else leans on the affair. Pray you make haste. And England, if my love thou hold'st aught, as my great power thereof may give thee sense, since yet thy cicatrice looks raw and red after the Danish sore and thy free awe, praise homage to us. Thou mayst not coldly set our sovereign process, which imports at full, by letters congruing to the effect, that present death of Hamlet. Do it, England, for like the hectic in my blood he rages, and thou most cure me, till I know till done, howe'er my haps, my joys will ne'er begin. Go, captain, from me greet the Danish king. Tell him that by his license Fortinbras craves the conveyance of a promised march over his kingdom. You know the rendezvous. If that his majesty would aught with his eye, we shall express our duty in his eye. Let him know so. I will do it, my lord. Go softly on. Good sir, whose powers are these? They are of Norway, sir. How purposed, sir, I pray you, against some part of Poland? Who commands them, sir? The nephew of old Norway, Fortinbras. Goes it against the main of Poland, sir, or some frontier? Truly to speak, and with no addition, we go to gain a little patch of ground that hath in it no more profit but the name. To pay 5 ducats, 5, I would not farm it. Nor will it yield to Norway or the Pole a ranker rate, should it be sold in fee. Why then the Polack will never defend it? Yes, it is already garrisoned. 2,000 souls and 20,000 ducats will not debate the question of this straw. This is the imposthume of much wealth and peace, that inward breaks and shows no cause without why the man dies. I humbly thank you, sir. God buy you, sir. Will it please you go, my lord? I'll be with you straight, go a little before. How all occasions do inform against me and spur my dull revenge. What is a man, if his chief good and market of his time be but to sleep and feed? A beast no more. Sure he that hath made us with such large discourse, looking before and after, gave us not that capability and godlike reason to fust in us unused. Now, whether it be bestial oblivion or some craven scruple of thinking too precisely on the event, a thought which quartered hath but 1 part wisdom and ever 3 parts coward, I do not know. Why yet I live to say this thing's to do, sith I have cause and will and strength and means to do it. Examples gross as earth exhort me. Witness this army of such mass and charge, led by a delicate and tender prince, whose spirit with divine ambition puffed makes mouths at the invisible event, exposing what is mortal and unsure to all that fortune, death, and danger dare, even for an eggshell. Rightly to be great is not to stir without great argument, but greatly to find quarrel in a straw, when honor's at the stake. How stand I then that I have a father killed, a mother stained, excitements of my reason and my blood, and let all sleep, while to my shame I see the imminent death of 20,000 men, that for a fantasy and a trick of fame go to their graves like beds, fight for a plot, whereupon the numbers cannot try the cause, which is not tomb enough and continent to hide the slain. Oh, from this time forth, my thoughts be bloody, or be nothing worth. I will not speak with her. She is important, and indeed distract. Her mood will needs be pitied. What should she have? She speaks much of her father, says she hears there's tricks of the world, and hems and beats her heart, spurns enviously at straws, speaks things in doubt that carry but half sense. Her speech is nothing, yet The unshaped use of it doth move the hearer to collection. They aim at it, and botch the words up fit to their own thoughts, which as her winks and nods and gestures yield them, indeed would make one think there might be thought, though nothing sure, yet much unhappily. 'Twere good she were spoken with, for she may strew dangerous conjectures in ill-breeding minds. Let her come in. To my sick soul, as sin's nature is, each toy seems prologue to some great amiss, so full of artless jealousy as guilt, it spills itself in fearing to be spilt. Where is this beauteous majesty of Denmark? How now, Ophelia? Why should I your true love know from another one by his cockle hat and staff and his sandal shoon? Alas, sweet lady, what imports this song? Say you, nay, pray you mark. He is dead and gone, lady, he is dead and gone. At his head a grass green turf, at his heels a stone. Oh ho. Nay, but Ophelia, pray you mark. White his shroud at the mountain snow. Alas, look here, my lord, larded with all sweet flowers, which bewept to the ground did not go. With true love showers, how do you, pretty lady? Well, good you dild. They say the owl was a baker's daughter. Lord, we know what we are, but we know not what we may be. God be at your table. Conceit upon your father. Pray, let's have no words of this, but when they ask what it means, say you this. Tomorrow is St. Valentine's Day, all in the morning betime. And I, a maid, to your window be your Valentine. Then up the rose and donned his clothes and upped the chamber door. Let in the maid, let out a maid, never departed more. Pretty Ophelia, indeed without an oath, I'll make an end on it. By Gis and by Saint Charity, alack, and fie for shame, young men will do it if they come to it by cock, or they are to blame. Quoth she, before you tumbled me, you promised me to wed. He answers, so I would ha' done, but yonder son, and thou hadst not come to bed. How long hath she been thus? I hope all will be well. We must be patient, but I cannot choose but weep to think they would lay him i' the cold ground. My brother shall know of it, and so I thank you for good counsel. Come, my coach. Good night, ladies, good night. Sweet ladies, good night, good night. Follow her close. Give her good watch, I'll pray you. Oh, this is the poison of deep grief. It springs all from her father's death. And now behold, oh Gertrude, when sorrows come, they come not in single spies, but in battalions. First her father slain, next your son gone, and he most violent author of his own just remove. The people muddied, thick and unwholesome in their thoughts and whispers for good Polonius' death. And we have done but greenly in hugger-mugger to inter him. Poor Ophelia divided from herself and her fair judgment, without the which we are pictures or mere beasts. Last, and as may containing for all these, her brother, as in secret come from France, feeds on this wonder, keeps himself in clouds, and wants not buzzards to infect his ear with pestilent speeches of his father's death, wherein necessity of matter beggared, will nothing stick our person to assign an ear and ear. Oh, my dear Gertrude, this, like a murdering piece, in many places gives me superfluous death. Attend! Where is my Switzers? Let them guard the door. What is the matter? Say yourself, my lord. The ocean o'erpeering of this list eats not the flats with more impetuous haste than young Laertes in a riotous head, or bears your officers. The rabble call him lord, and as the world were now but to begin, antiquity forgot, custom not known, the ratifiers and props of every word, they cry, choose we, Laertes shall be king, caps, hands, and tongues, applaud to the clouds, Laertes shall be king, Laertes king. How cheerfully on this false trail they cry, oh, this is counter, you false Danish dogs. The doors are broke. Where is this king? Sirs, stand you all without. No, let's come in. I pray you give me leave. We will. I thank you, keep the door. Oh, thou vile king, give me my father. Calmly, good Laertes, that drop of blood that's calm proclaims me bastard, cries cuckold to my father, brands the harlot, even here, between the chaste unsmirched brow of my true mother. What is the cause, Laertes, that thy rebellion looks so giant-like? Let him go, Gertrude. Do not fear our person. There's such divinity doth hedge a king, that treason can but peep to what it would. acts little of his will. Tell me, Laertes, why thou art thus incensed. Let him go, Gertrude. Speak, man. Where is my father? Dead, but not by him. Let him demand his fill. How came he dead? I'll not be juggled with. To hell allegiance, vows to the blackest devil, conscience and grace to the profoundest pit. I dare damnation, to this point I stand, that both the words I give to negligence, let come what may, only I'll be revenged most thoroughly for my father. Who shall stay you? My will, not all's the world's. For my own means, I'll husband them so well, they shall go far with little. Good Laertes, if you desire to know the certainty of your dear father, it's writ in your revenge that sweepstake you will both draw friend and foe, winner and loser, none but his enemies. Will you know them then? To his good friends thus wide I'll ope my arms, and like the kind life-rendering pelican repast them with my blood. Why, now you speak like a good child and a true gentleman. That I am guiltless of your father's death, and am most sensibly in grief for it, it shall as level to your judgments pair as day does to your eye. How now? What noise is that? O heat, dry up my brains. Tears 7 times salt burn out the sense and virtue of mine eye. By heaven, thy madness shall be paid with weight, till our scale turn the beam. O Rose may we, dear maid, kind sister, sweet Ophelia, O heavens, is it possible a young maid's wits should be as mortal as an old man's life? They bore him bay-faced on the bier, and his grave rained many a tear for you well, my dove. Hadst thou thy wits, and didst persuade revenge, it could not move thus. You must sing a down, and you call him a downa. Oh, how the wheel comes! It is the false steward that stole his mother's daughter. This nothing's more than matter. There's rosemary, that's for remembrance. Pray you, love, remember. And there is pansies, that's for thoughts. A document in madness, thoughts and remembrance fitted. That's fennel for you, and that's columbines, that's for you. And here's some for me. We may call it herb of graces Sundays. You must wear your rue with a difference. There's daisy. I would give you some violets, but they all withered when my father died. They say I made a good end. For bonny sweet Robin is all my joy. Thoughts and afflictions, passion, hell itself, she turns to favor into prettiness. And will it not come again? And will it not come again? No, no, he is dead. Go to thy deathbed, he will never come again. His beard's as white as snow, flaxen was his poll. He is gone, and we cast away, we moan, God have mercy on his soul. And of all Christian souls, God by you. Do you see this, O God? Laertes, I must commune with your grief, or you deny me right, but depart. Make choice of whom your wisest friends you shall, and they shall hear and judge twixt you and me. If by direct or collateral hand they find us touched, we will our kingdom give, our crown, our life, and all that we are carts to your satisfaction. But if not, be you content to lend your patience to us, and we shall jointly labor with your soul to give it due content. Let this be so. His means of death, his obscure funeral, no trophy, sword, or hatchment, or his bones, no noble rite, nor formal ostentation cried to be heard. As 'twere from heaven to earth that I must call it in question, so you shall. And where the offense is, let the great axe fall. I pray you, go with me. Where are they that speak with me? Seafaring men, sir. They may say they have letters for you. Let them come in. I do not know from what part of the world I should be greeted, if not from Lord Hamlet. God bless you, sir. Let him bless thee too. Shall, sir, and it please him. There's a letter for you, sir, and it came from the ambassador that was bound for England. If your name be Horatio, as I am let it be known it is. Horatio, when thou shalt have overlooked this, give these fellows some means to the king. They have letters for him ere we were wont 2 days old at sea. A pirate of very warlike appointment gave us chase. Finding ourselves too slow of sail, we put on a compelled valor, and in the grapple I boarded them. On the instant they got clear of our ships, so I alone became their prisoner. They have dealt with me like thieves of mercy, but they knew what they did. I am to do a turn for them. Let the king have the letters I have sent, and repair thou to me with as much speed as thou wouldst fly death. I have words to speak in thine ear, will make thee dumb, yet are they much too light for the bore of the matter. These good fellows will bring thee where I am. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern hold their course for England. Of them I have much to tell thee. Farewell. He that knowest thine Hamlet. Come, I will give you the way for these letters, and do it the speedier that you may direct me to him from whom you brought them. Now must your conscience my acquittance seal, and you must put me in your heart for friend. Sith you have heard, and with a knowing ear, that he which hath your noble father slain, pursued my life. It well appears, but tell me why you proceed not against these feats, so criminal and so capital in nature, as by your safety, wisdom, all things else, you mainly were stirred up. Over two special reasons, which may to you perhaps seem much unsinewed, but yet to me they are strong. The queen his mother lives almost by his looks, and for myself, my father, or my plague, be it either which, she is conjunctive to my life and my soul, that as the star moves not by the sphere, I could not but by her. The other motive why to a public count I might not go is the great love the general gender bear him, who, dipping all his faults in their affection, work like the spring that turneth wood to stone, convert his gyves to graces, so that my arrows, too slightly timbered for so loud a wind, would have reverted to my bow again, but not where I had aimed them. And so I have a noble father lost, a sister driven into desperate terms, whose worth, if praises may go beyond, stood challenger on mount of all the age for her perfections. But my revenge will come. Break not your sleeps for that. You must not think that we are made of stuff so flat and dull that we can let our beards be shook with danger and think it pastime. You shortly shall hear more. I loved your father, and we love ourself, and that, I hope, will teach you to imagine. These to your majesty, these to your queen. From Hamlet? Who brought them? Sailors, my lord, they say. I saw them not. They were given me by Claudio. He received them of him that brought them. Laertes, you shall hear them. Leave us. High and mighty, you shall know I am set naked on your kingdom. Tomorrow shall I beg leave to see your kingly eyes, when I shall, first asking your pardon thereunto, recount the occasion of my sudden return. What should this mean? Why are all the rest come back? Or is it some abuse, and no such thing? Know you the hand? 'Tis Hamlet's character, naked, and in the postscript here it says alone. Can you devise me? I am lost in it, my lord, but let him come. It warns the very sickness in my heart that I shall live and tell him to his teeth. Thus didst thou. If it be so, Laertes, as how should it be so? How otherwise? Will you be ruled by me? I, my lord, so you will not o'errule me to a peace. To thine own peace, if he be now returned, as checking at his voyage, and that he means no more undertake it, I will work him to an exploit now ripe in my device, under the which he shall not choose but fall, and for his death no wind of blame shall breathe, but even his mother shall uncharge the practice and call it accident. My lord, I will be ruled, the rather if you could devise it so, that I might be the organ. It falls right, you have been talked of since your travel much, and that in Hamlet's hearing for a quality wherein they say you shine. Your sum of parts did not together pluck such envy from him as did that one, and that in regard of the unworthiest siege. What part is that, my lord? A very ribbon in the cap of youth, yet needful too, for youth no less becomes the light and careless livery that it wears, than settled age his sables and weeds, importing health and graveness. 2 months since, here was a gentleman of Normandy. I have seen myself, and swerved against the French, and they can well on horseback, but this gallant had witchcraft in it. He grew unto his seat, and to such wondrous doing brought his horse, as he did his encorpsed and demon-natured with the brave beast. So far he topped my thought, that I in forgery of shapes and tricks come short of what he did. A Norman was't? A Norman. Upon my life, Lamond, the very same. I know him very well. He is the brooch indeed and gem of all the nation. He made confession of you, and gave you such a masterly report for art and exercise in your defense, and for your rapier most especial, that he cried out, 'twould be a sight indeed if one could match you. The scrimmers of their nation he swore had neither motion, guard, nor eye, if you opposed them. Sir, this report of his did Hamlet so envenom with his envy that he could nothing do but wish and beg your sudden coming o'er to play with you. Now what out of this, my lord Laertes? Was your father dear to you, or are you like a painting of a sorrow, a face without a heart? Why ask you this? Not that I think you did not love your father, but that I know love is begun by time, and that I see in passages of proof time qualifies the spark of fire in it. There lives within the very flame of life a kind of wick or snuff that will abate it, and nothing is at all a good like goodness still. For goodness growing to a pleurisy dies in his own too much. That we would do, we should do when we would, for this would changes and hath abatements and delays as many as there are tongues, and hands are accidents, and then this should is like a spendthrift sigh that hurts by easing. But to the quick of the ulcer Hamlet comes back. What would you undertake to show yourself indeed your father's son, more than in words? To cut his throat of the church. No place indeed should murder sanctuarize. Revenge should have no bounds, but good Laertes, will you do this? Keep close within your chamber. Hamlet returned shall know you are come home. Will put on those shall praise your excellence and set a double varnish on the fame the Frenchman gave you, bring you in fine together and wager o'er your heads. He being remiss, most generous and free from all contriving, will not peruse the foils, so that with the ease or with the little shuffling you may choose a sword unbaited, and as in passive practice requite him for your father. I will do it, and for the purpose I'll anoint my sword. I brought an unction of a mountebank so mortal that but dip a knife in it, where it draws blood, no cataplasm so rare, collected from all samples that have virtue under the moon, can save the thing from death that is but scathed withal. I'll touch my point with this contagion, that if I gall him slightly, it may be death. Let's further think of this. Weigh what convenience, both of time and means, may fit us to our shape. If this should fail, and that our drift look through our bad performance, 'twere better not essayed. Therefore this project should have a back or second that might hold if this did blast in proof. Soft. Let me see. We'll make a solemn wager on your cunnings. I had. When in your motion you are hot and dry, as make your bouts more violent to that end, and that he calls for drink, I'll have prepared him a chalice for the nonce, whereon but sipping, if he by chance escape your envenomed stuck, our purpose may hold there. But stay, what noise? One woe doth tread another's heel, so fast they follow, your sisters drowned, Laertes. Drown? Oh, where? There is a willow, grows askant the brook that shows his hoary leaves. In the glassy stream therewith fantastic garlands did she make of cornflowers, nettles, daisies, and long purples that liberal shepherds give a grosser name. But our cold maids do dead men's fingers call them. There on the pendant brose of her cornet weeds, clambering to hang an envious silver broke, when down her weedy trophies and herself fell in the weeping brook. Her clothes spread wide and mermaid-like, a while they bore her up, which time she chanted snatches of old lauds as one incapable of her own distress, or like a creature native and indeed unto this element. But long it could not be, till that her garments, heavy with their drink, pulled the poor wretch from her melodious lay to muddy death. Alas, then she is drowned, drowned, drowned. Too much of water hast thou, poor Ophelia, and therefore I forbid my ears. But yet it is our trick, nature her custom holds, let shame say what it will. When these are gone, the woman will be out. Adieu, my lord, I have a speech of fire that fain would blaze, but that this folly drowns it. Let's follow Gertrude. How much I had to do to calm his rage, now fear I this will get its start again. Therefore let's follow. Is she to be buried in Christian burial, when she wilfully seeks her own salvation? I tell thee she is, therefore make her grave straight. The crowner hath sat her on her own, and finds it Christian burial. How can that be, unless she drowned herself in her own defense? Why, 'tis found so. It must be, say, offendo, it cannot be else, for here lies the point. If I drown myself wittingly, it argues an act, and an act hath three branches. It is to act, to do, to perform. Argal, she drowned herself wittingly. Nay, but hear you, goodman Delver. Give me leave. Here lies the water, good. Here stands the man, good. If the man goes to the water and drown himself, it is, will he, nil he goes, mark you that. But if the water come to him, and drown him, he drowns not himself. Argal, he that is not guilty of his own death, shortens not his own life. But is this the law? Ay, marry, it is. Crowner's quest law. Will you have the truth on it? If this had been a gentlewoman, she would have been buried at a Christian burial. Why? There thou sayest. And the more pretty that great folk should have countenance in this world to drown or hang themselves more than their Christian. Come, my spade. There is no ancient gentleman, nor gardeners, ditchers, and gravemakers. They hold up Adam's profession. Was he a gentleman? It was the first that ever there bore arms. I'll put another question to thee. If thou answerest me not to the purpose, confess thyself. Go to. What is he that builds stronger than either the mason, the shipwright, or the carpenter? The gallows maker, for that frame outlives 1,000 tenants. I like thy wit well. In good faith, the gallows does well. But how does it well? It does well to those that do ill. Now, thou dost ill to say the gallows is built stronger than the church. Argal, the gallows may do well to thee. To it again, come. Who builds stronger than a mason, a shipwright, or a carpenter? Ay, tell me that, and unyoke. Marry, now I can tell. To it. Mass, I cannot tell. Cudgel thy brains no more about it, for your dull ass will not mend his pace with beating. And when you are asked the question next, say, a grave maker. The houses he makes lasts till doomsday. Go. Get thee in it, and fetch me a stoup of liquor. In youth when I did love, me thought it was a very sweet to contract, the time for my behove. Me thought there was nothing meet. Has this fellow no feeling of his business, as sings in his grave making? Custom hath made it in his property of easiness. 'Tis e'en so, this hand of little employment hath the daintier sense. But age with his stealing steps hath clawed me in his clutch, and hath shipped me into land, and if I had never been such. That skull had a tongue in it, and could sing once, and now the knave jowls it to the ground as if 'twere Cain's jawbone that did the first murder. This might be the pate of a politician, which this ass now o'erreaches, one that would circumvent God, might it not? It might, my lord. Or of a courtier, which could say, good morning, good morrow, sweet lord, how dost thou, sweet lord? This might be Lord such a one, that praised my lord such a one's horse when meant to beg it. Might it not? Ay, my lord. Well, e'en so, and now my lady worms, shopless, knocked about the mazzard with a sexton's spade. Here's a fine revolution, and we had the trick to see it. Did these bones cost no more to the breeding but to play at loggets with them? Mine ache to think on it. A pickaxe and a spade for a shrouding sheet. Oh, a pity of clay for be made for such a guest as meet. There's another. Why, may he not be the skull of a lawyer? Where be his quiddities now, his quilities, his cases, his tenures, and his tricks? Why does he suffer this mad knave now to knock him about with the sconce, the dirty shovel, and will not tell him of his action in battery? This fellow might be in his time a great buyer of land, with his statues, his recognizances, his fines, his double vouchers, his recoveries. Is this the fine and fines, the recovery of his recoveries? To have his fine pate full of fine dirt? Will this voucher vouch him no more of his purchases, and double ones too, than the length and breadth of a pair of indentures? The very conveyances of his lands will scarcely lie in this box, and must the inheritor himself have no more? Not a jot more, my lord. Is not parchment made of sheepskins? Ay, my lord, and of calfskins too. They are sheep and calves, which seek out the assurance that in that I will speak to this fellow. Whose grave's this, sirrah? Mine, sir. Oh, a pit of clay for to be made. I think it be thine indeed, for thou liest in it. You lie on it, sir, and therefore 'tis not yours. For my part, I do not lie in it, yet it is mine. Thou does lie in it. To be in it and to say it is thine, for 'tis for the dead, not for the quick. Therefore thou liest. 'Tis a quick lie, sir. 'Twill away again from me to you. What man dost thou dig it for? For no man, sir. What woman, then? For none neither. Who is to be buried in it? One that was a woman, sir, but rest her soul, she's dead. How absolute the knave is! We must speak by the card, or equivocation will undo us. By the Lord Horatio, his 3 years I have took note of it, the age is grown so picked that the toe of this peasant comes so near the heel of the courtier, he galls his kibe. How long hast thou been a grave maker? Of all the days of the year, I came to it the day that our last king Hamlet overcame Fortinbras. How long is that since? Cannot you tell that? Every fool can tell that. It was the very day that young Hamlet was born, he that is mad, and sent into England. Ay, marry. Why was he sent into England? Why, because he was mad. I shall recover his wits there, or if it do not, 'tis no great matter there. Why? 'Twill not be seen in him, there the men are as mad as he. How came he mad? Very strangely, they say. How strangely? Faith, e'en with losing his wits. Upon what ground? Why, here in Denmark. I have been sexton here, man and boy, 30 years. How long will a man lie the earth ere he rot? Faith, if it be not rotten before it die, as we have many pocky corpses nowadays that will scarce hold the laying in, will lay you some 8 year or 9 year. A tanner will last you 9 year. Why he more than another? Why, sir, his hide is so tanned with his trade that it will keep out water a great while, and your water is a sore decayer of your horse and dead body. Here's a skull, now hath lien you the earth 23 years. Whose was it? A horse and mad fellows it was. Whose do you think it was? Nay, I know not. A pestilence on him for a mad rogue. A poured a flagon of Rhenish on my head once. This same skull, sir, was Sir Yorick's skull, the king's jester. This, e'en that. Alas, poor Yorick, I knew him, Horatio. A fellow of infinite jest, of most excellent fancy. He hath borne me on his back 1,000 times, and now hath how abhorred in my imagination it is. My gorge ties at it, where here hung those lips that I have kissed I know not how oft. Where be your jibes now, your gambols, your songs, your flashes of merriment that went on wont to see the table on a roar? Not one now to mock your own grinning, quite chop-fallen? Now get you to my lady's table, and tell her, let her paint an inch thick to this favour she must come. Make her laugh at that. Prithee, Horatio, tell me one thing. What's that, my lord? Dost thou think Alexander looked at this fashion of the earth? E'en so. And smelt so? Pah! E'en so, my lord. To what base uses we may return, Horatio. Why may not imagination trace the noble dust of Alexander till it find it stopping a bunghole? 'Twere to consider too curiously to consider so. No, faith, not a jot, but to follow him thither, with modesty enough and likelihood to lend. Alexander died, Alexander was buried. Alexander returneth to dust. The dust is earth. Of earth we must make loam. And why of that loam whereto he was converted might they not stop a beer barrel? Imperious Caesar, dead and turned to clay, might stop a hole to which the wand away. Oh, stop that earth which kept the world in awe, should a patch the expel the winter's flaw. But soft a while. Here comes the king, the queen, the courtiers. Who is this they follow? And with such maimed rites this doth betoken the corpse they follow did the desperate hand fordo its own life. 'Twas of some estate. Couch we a while and mark. What ceremony else? This is Laertes, a very noble youth, mark. What ceremony else? Her obsequious have been as far enlarged as we have warranty. Her death was doubtful, and but by an great command o'ersways the order. She should in ground unsanctified have lodged till the last trumpet. For charitable prayers, flints and pebbles should be thrown on her. Yet here she is allowed her virgin krantz, her maiden struments, and her bringing home of bell and burial. Must there be no more done? No more be done. We should profane the service of the dead to sing a requiem, and such rest to her as to peace-parted souls. Lay her the earth, and from her fair and unpolluted flesh may violets spring. I tell thee, churlish priest, a ministering angel shall my sister be when thou liest howling? What, the fair Ophelia? Sweets to the sweet, farewell. I hoped thou shouldst have been my Hamlet's wife. I thought thy bedrid bride bed to have decked, sweet maid, and not have strewed thy grave. Oh, treble woe! Fall 10 times double on that cursed head, whose wicked deed thy most ingenious sense deprived thee of. Hold off the earth awhile, till I have caught her once more in my arms. Now, pile your dust upon the quick and the dead, till of this flat a mountain you have made to o'ertop o'er Pelion and the skyish head of blue Olympus. What is he whose grief bears such an emphasis, whose phrase of sorrow conjures the wandering stars and makes them stand like wonder-wounded hearers? This is I, Hamlet the Dane. The devil take thy soul. Thou prayest not well. I prithee take thy fingers from my throat, for though I am not splentive and rash, yet have I in me something dangerous, which let thy wisdom fear. Hold off thy hand. Pluck them asunder. Hamlet, Hamlet, gentlemen, good my lord, be quiet. Why, I will fight with him upon this theme till my eyelids will no longer wag. Oh, my son, what theme? I loved Ophelia. 40,000 brothers could not, with all their quantity of love, make up my sum. What wilt thou do for her? Oh, he is mad, Laertes. For love of God, forbear him. Swoons, show me what thou do. Who'd weep, who'd fight, who'd fast, who'd tear thyself, who'd drink up easily to crocodile? I'll do it. Dost thou come here to whine, to outface me with leaping in her grave, be buried quick with her, and so will I. And if thou prate on mountains, let them throw millions of acres on us, till our ground, singing with pate against the burning nose, make Ossa like a wart. Nan, thou'lt mouth, I'll rant as well as thou. This is mere madness, and thus a while the fit well work with him. Anon as patient as the female dove, when that her golden couplets are disclosed, her silence will sit drooping. Hear you, sir. What is the reason that you use me thus? I loved you ever, but it is no matter. Let Hercules himself do what he may. The cat will mew, and dog will have his day. I pray thee, good Horatio, wait upon him. Strengthen. Your patience in our last night's speech will put the matter into the present push. Good Gertrude, set some watch over your son. This grave shall have a living monument. An hour of quiet shortly shall we see. Then till in patience our proceeding be. So much for this. Now shall you see the other. You do remember all the circumstance? Remember it, my lord. Sir, in my heart there was a kind of fighting that would not let me sleep. Methought I lay worse than the mutines and the bilboes. Rashly and praised by rashness for it, let me know. Our discretion sometimes serves us well. When we our deep plots do pall, and that should learn us there's a divinity that shapes our ends, rough-hewn them how we will. This is most certain. Up from my cabin, my sea-grown scarfed about me, in the dark groped I to find out them, had my desire fingered their packet, and in fine withdrew to mine own room again, making so bold, my fears forgetting manners, to unseal their grand commissions, where I found Horatio, a royal knavery, an exact command, larded with many several sorts of reasons, importing Denmark's health, and England's too, with such bugs and goblins in my life, that on the supervise no leisure bated, no, not to stay the grinding of the axe, my head should be struck off. Is it possible? Here's the commission. Read it at more leisure. But wilt thou hear now how I did proceed? I beseech you. Being thus benetted round with villainies, or I could make a prologue to my brains they had begun to play, I sat me down, devised a new commission, wrote it fair. I once did hold it, as our statists did, a baseness to write fair, and laboured much how to forget that learning. But, sir, now it did me yeoman's service. Wilt thou know the effect of what I wrote? Aye, good my lord. An earnest conjuration from the king, as England was his faithful tributary, as love between them like the palm might flourish, as peace should still her wheaten garland wear, and stand a comma between her amities, and much such like as is of great charge, that on view of knowing of these contents, without debatement further, more or less, he should those bearers put to sudden death, not shriving time allowed. How was this sealed? Why, even in that same heaven ordinance, I had my father's signet in my purse, which was the model of that Danish seal, folded the writ in the form of the other. Subscribed it, gave the impression, placed it safely, the changeling never known. Now the next day was our sea fight, and what to this sequent thou knowest already. So Guildenstern and Rosencrantz, go to it. They are not near my conscience. Their defeat does by their own insinuation grow. 'Tis dangerous when the baser nature comes between the past and fell incensed points of mighty opposites. Why, what a king is this! Does it not think thee stand me now upon, he that hath killed my king and whored my mother, popped in between the election and my hopes, thrown out a angle for my proper life, and with such cousinage, is it not perfect conscience? Your lordship is right welcome back to Denmark. I humbly thank you, sir. Dost know this waterfly? No, my good lord. Thy state is the more gracious, for 'tis a vice to know him. He hath made land infertile. Let a beast be lord of beasts, and his crib shall stand as the king's mess. 'Tis a shoff, but, as I say, spacious in the possession of dirt. Sweet lord, if your lordship were at leisure, I should impart a thing to you from his majesty. I will receive it, sir, with all diligence of spirit, your bonnet to his right use. 'Tis for the head. I thank you, lordship. It is very hot. No, believe me, 'tis very cold. The wind is northerly. It is indifferent cold, my lord, indeed. But yet methinks it is very sultry and hot for my complexion. Exceeding me, my lord. It is very sultry, as 'twere. I cannot tell how. My lord, his majesty bade me signify to you that as I laid a wager on your head. Sir, this is the matter. I beseech you, remember. Nay, good my lord, for my ease and good faith, sir, here is my newly come to court Laertes, believe me, an absolute gentleman, full of most excellent differences, of very soft society, and great showing. Indeed, to speak feeling of him, he is the card of or calendar of gentry, for you shall find in him the continent of what part a gentleman would see. Sir, his definement suffers no perdition in you, though I know to divide him inventorially would dozy the arithmetic of memory, and yet but yaw, neither in respect of his quick sale, but in the verity of extolment. I take him with a soul of great article, and his infusion of such dearth and rareness as, to make true direct diction of him, his semblance is his mirror, and who else would trace him his umbrage? Nothing more. Your lordship speaks most infallibly of him. The concernancy, sir? Why do we wrap the gentleman in our more rawer breath, sir? Is it not possible to understand in another tongue? You will to it, sir? Really? What imports the nomination of this gentleman? Of Laertes? His purse is empty already. All's golden words are spent of him, sir. I know you are not ignorant. I would you did, sir. Yet in faith, if you did, it would not much approve me. Well, sir? You are not ignorant of what excellence Laertes is. I dare not confess that, lest I should compare with him in excellence, but to a man well were to know himself. I mean, sir, for his weapon, but in the imputation laid on him by them in his means, he's unfellowed. What's his weapon? Rapier and dagger. That's 2 of his weapons, but well. The king, sir, hath wagered with him 6 Barbary horses, against the which he has him pawned, as I take it, 6 French rapiers and poniards, with their assigns as girdle, hanger, and so on. 3 of the carriages, in faith, are very dear to fancy, very responsive to his hilts, most delicate carriages, and of very liberal conceit. What call you the carriages? I knew you would most edified by the margin ergo you had done. The carriage, sir, are the hangers. The phrase would be more germane to the matter if you could carry a cannon by our sides. I would it might be hangers till then, but on. 6 Barbary horses against 6 French swords, their assigns, and 3 liberal conceited carriages. That's the French bet against the Danish. Why is this all impawned, as you call it? The king, sir, hath laid, sir, that in a dozen passes between yourself and him, he shall not exceed you 3 hits. He hath laid you 12 for 9, and it would come to immediate trial, for your lordship would vouchsafe the answer. How if I answer no? I mean, my lord, the opposition of your person and trial. Sir, I will walk here in the hall, if it please his majesty. It is the breathing time of day with me. Let the foils be brought, the gentleman willing, and the king hold his purpose. I will win for him, and I can. If not, I will gain nothing but a shame and my odd hits. Shall I deliver you so? To this effect, sir, after what flourish your nature will. I commend my duty to your lordship, yours. He does well to commend itself. There are no tongues else for his turn. This lapwing runs away with the shell on his head. I did comply with his dug before I sucked it. Thus has he many more of the same breed that I know of the drogy age dotes on, only to the tune of the time and out of an habit of encounter, a kind of yeasty collection which carries them through and through the most fanned and winnowed opinions, and do but blow them to their trial. Their bubbles are out. My lord, his majesty commended him to you by young Osric, who brings back to him that you attend him in the hall. He sends to know if your pleasure holds to play Laertes, or that you will take longer time. I am constant to my purposes, they follow the king's pleasure. If his fitness speaks, mine is ready, now, or whensoever, provided I be so able as now. The king and queen are all coming down, in happy time. The queen desires you to use some gentle entertainment to Laertes before you fall to play. She well instructs me. You will lose, my lord. I do not think so. Since he went into France, I have been in continual practice. I shall win at the odds. Thou wouldst not think him ill, all's here about my heart. But it is no matter. Nay, good my lord, it is but foolery, but it is such a kind of gainsgiving as would perhaps trouble a woman. If your mind dislike anything, obey it. It will forestall their repair hither, and say you are not fit. Not a whit. We defy augury. There is a special providence in the fall of a sparrow. If it be now, 'tis not to come. If it be not to come, it will be now. If it be not now, yet it will come. The readiness is all, since no man of aught he leaves knows. What is't to leave betimes? Let be. Come, Hamlet, come, and take this hand from me. Give me your pardon, sir. I have done you wrong, but pardoned as you are a gentleman. This presence knows, and you are needs must have heard, how I have punished with a sore distraction what I have done, that you might your nature, honor, and exception roughly awake, I here proclaim was madness. Was't Hamlet wronged Laertes? Never Hamlet. If Hamlet from himself be ta'en away, and when he's not himself does wrong Laertes, then Hamlet does it not. Hamlet denies it. Who does it then? His madness. If it be so, Hamlet is of the faction that is wronged. His madness is poor Hamlet's enemy. Sir, in this audience let my disclaiming from a purposed evil free me of so far in your generous thoughts that I have shot my arrow o'er the house and hurt my brother. I am satisfied in nature, whose motive in this case should stir me most to my revenge, but in the terms of honor I stand aloof, and will no reconcilement till by some older masters of known honor I have a voice and precedent of peace to keep my name ungored. But till that time I do receive your offered love like love, and will not wrong it. I embrace it freely, and will this brother's wager frankly play. Give us the foils. Come, one from me. I'll be your foil, Laertes, in mine ignorance your skill shall, like a star the darkest night, stick fiery off indeed. You mock me, sir. No, by this hand. Give me the foils, young Osric, cousin Hamlet. You know the wager. Very well, my lord. Your grace laid the odds of the weaker side. I do not fear it. I have seen you both, but since he is bettered, we have therefore odds. This is too heavy. Let me see another. This likes me well. These foils all have a length? Aye, my good lord. Say, set me the stoups of wine upon that table. If Hamlet give the first or second hit, or quit in answer of the third exchange, let all the battlements their ordnance fire. The king shall drink to Hamlet's better breath, and in the cup an union shall be thrown, richer than that which first 4 successive kings in Denmark's crown have worn. Give me the cups, and let the kettle to the trumpet speak, the trumpet to the cannoner without, the cannoners to the heavens, the heaven to the earth. Now the king drinks to Hamlet. Come, begin. And you, the judges, bear a wary eye. Come on, sir. Come, my lord. 1. No. Judgment? A hit? A very palpable hit. Well, again. Stay, give me drink, Hamlet. This pearl is thine. Here's to thy health. Give me that cup. I'll play this bout first. Set it by a while. Come, another hit. What say you? I do confess it. Our son shall win. He's fat and scant of breath. Here, Hamlet, take my napkin, rub thy brows. The queen carouses to thy fortune. Hamlet? Good, madam. Gertrude, do not drink. I will, my lord. I pray you pardon me. It is the poisoned cup. It is too late. I dare not drink yet, madam. By and by. Come, let me wipe thy face. My lord, I'll hit him now. I do not think it, and yet it is almost against my conscience. Come for the third, Laertes. You do but dally. I press you past with your best violence. I am sure you make a wanton of me. Say you so? Come on. Nothing neither way. Have at you now. Part them. They are incensed. Nay, come, again. Look to the queen there. Ho! They bleed on both sides. How is it, my lord? How is it, Laertes? Why, as a woodcock to mine own spring, Osric, I am justly killed with mine own treachery. How does the queen? She swoons to see them bleed. No, no, the drink, the drink! Oh, my dear Hamlet, the drink, I am poisoned. Oh, villainy, ho! Let the door be knocked. Treachery, seek it out! It is here, Hamlet, Hamlet. Thou art slain, no medicine in the world can do thee good. In thee there is not half an hour's life. The treacherous instrument is in thy hand, unbaited and envenomed. The foul practice hath turned itself on me. Lo, here I lie, never to rise again. Thy mother's poisoned, I can no more. The king's to blame. The point envenomed too? Then venom to thy work. Treason! Treason! Oh, yet defend me, friends, I am but hurt. Here, thou incestuous, murderous, damned Dane, drink off this potion. Is thy union here? Follow my mother. He is justly served. It is a potion, a poison tempered by himself. Exchange forgiveness with me, noble Hamlet. Mine and my father's death come not upon thee, nor thine upon me. Heaven makes thee free of it. I follow thee. I am dead, Horatio, wretched queen. Adieu. You that look pale and terrible at this chance, that are but mutes or audience to this act, had I but time, as this fell sergeant Death is strict in his arrest, or I could tell you, but let it be. Horatio, I am dead. Thou livest. Report me and my cause aright to the unsatisfied. Never believe it. I am more an antique Roman than a Dane. Here's yet some liquor left, as the art of man. Give me the cup, let go. By heaven, I'll hat. Oh God, Horatio, what a wounded name. Things standing thus unknown shall I leave behind me. If thou didst ever hold me in thy heart, absent thee from felicity awhile, and in this harsh world draw thy breath in pain to tell my story. What warlike noise is this? Young Fortinbras, with conquest comes from Poland to the ambassador of England, gives this warlike volley. Oh, I die, Horatio, the potent poison quite o'ercrows my spirit. I cannot live to hear the news from England. But I do prophesy the election lights from Fortinbras. He has my dying voice, so tell him, with the occurrence more or less, which have solicited the rest is silence. Now cracks a noble heart. Good night, sweet prince, and flights of angels sing thee to thy rest. Why does the drum come hither? Where is this sight? What is this you would see, if aught of woe or wonder cease your search? This quarry cries on havoc, O proud death. What feast is toward in thine eternal cell, that thou so many princes at a shot so bloodily hast struck? The sight is dismal, and our affairs from England come too late. The ears are senseless, and should give us hearing to tell his commandment is fulfilled, that Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead. Where should we give our thanks? Not from this mouth. Had it the ability of life to thank you, he never gave the commandment for his death. But since so jump upon this bloody question, you from the Polack wars and you from England are here arrived, give order that these bodies high on a stage be placed to the view, and let me speak to the unknowing world. How these things came about, so shall you hear of carnal, bloody, and unnatural acts of accidental judgments, casual slaughters of deaths put on by cunning and forced cause. And in this upshot, purposes mistook, fallen on the inventors' heads. All this can I truly deliver. Let us haste to hear it, and call the noblest to the audience. For me with sorrow I embrace my fortune. I have some rights of memory in this kingdom, which now to claim my vantage doth invite me. Of that I shall have also cause to speak, and from his mouth, whose voice will draw on more. But let this same be presently performed, while man's minds are wild, lest more mischance on plots and errors happen. Let 4 captains bear Hamlet like a soldier to the stage, for he was likely, had he been put on, to have proved most royal, and for his passage the soldiers' music and the rite of war speak loudly for him. Take up the bodies. Such a sight as this becomes the field, but here shows much amiss. Go, bid the soldiers shoot.